Hi there, my name is Betsy Coe, and I'm a member of the WikiTree team. First and foremost, welcome to WikiTree. The purpose of this video is to give an overview of how to navigate WikiTree, including taking your first steps as a member in the community. Hopefully, I'll answer some of your initial questions so that you can feel more confident as you start creating and connecting profiles. It would be impossible to show everything that WikiTree can do in just one video. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and do that. Even so, there's a lot of content here. We've divided things into 12 chapters so that it's easier to find your way around the video. Once you've watched, we hope you'll join us for one of our monthly new member question and answer sessions via Zoom. We'll give more details on that at the very end. First of all, what is WikiTree? You may have just sort of stumbled in and signed up, so it sounds good, but you're not completely sure what it's all about. And so just in brief, our mission is to create an accurate single family tree that's free to everyone forever. So that's sweet and simple. That's it. So every single word in what I just said is very important. The accuracy, the single family tree, and the free part. So that's what we're all striving towards. You may say, well, sounds like Family Search, sounds like Genie. What's different? And there are quite a number of important differences. First of all, we probably have a mix in the audience of people who are just guest members who are checking things out, which means that you can do things on your own profile. You can ask questions in G2G. Then you might have become a family member, which means that you can make a small number of edits, say adding your parents, your grandparents, and so on, up to 300 edits. And then as you get closer and closer to that 300 mark, you're going to be prompted to, wouldn't you like to sign the honor code? And that's our third group of members. So the honor code is a 9-point code. And I think it really is, we always are referencing it. It's the heart of what we do. And the important keywords are highlighted, collaboration. Since it's a shared family tree, the farther back we go, the more likely it is that you're going to share an ancestor with somebody. And that means collaboration. It's not like on Ancestry where you and somebody else might share a distant ancestor and you'll each have your own profile on your separate trees. That doesn't happen on WikiTree. We have one profile a person and we work together on that. Accuracy. I know many people are drawn to WikiTree because of how much we care about accuracy and sources. Mistakes happen. We start from the point of saying that, it was unintentional, assume good intentions, and then try to work things out from there. Courtesy, also major point. Respecting privacy. We're going to talk about the different privacy levels that are possible, talk about adding living people and the guidelines around that. Copyrights, we respect that very, very strongly. We don't just copy things over. Oh, that's a great image. I'll just copy that over to my grandma's profile. We ask for permission. We give credit. We cite sources. And again, our mission is to keep information as free and as open as possible. So the honor code, I would say, is the biggest difference. We are not a repository for records in the way that Family Search is. So you can see records on WikiTree. I mean, if people are citing their sources, you'll see a link to a census and it will get you to a record, but you can't go into search mode of the 1900 United States Census on WikiTree. You have to go to Family Search for that, or Ancestry if you have a paid subscription to that. Each of our profiles has a profile manager or managers, who are people who have said, I'm going to take responsibility for this profile and help maintain it and improve it over time. Linking DNA results, that's, I think, a very unique thing. And we'll look at how that plays out. We have categories, which are a very wonderful way to visualize shared things in common and to possibly find cousins. Very easy to search relationships and connections with somebody. I so many times I've been on Ancestry and looking at something and saying, I wish there was a quick way for me to see how the person who owns this tree is connected to this profile. And on WikiTree, it's literally like 5 clicks of a button and you're there, or even fewer than that. We have wonderful community collaboration through G2G, which is our genealogist to genealogist forum and projects. There are also, many of our projects are geographically based, like Hillary and I are both members of the England project. I'm a member of the Canada project as well. And there's many projects. We also have functional projects, which perform a function. For instance, all of you should have been greeted when you joined WikiTree. You got a little message in the comment section of your profile from a WikiTree greeter. And so the greeters are one of our functional projects. We have mentors, we have rangers. So they help keep the tree safe and healthy and welcoming. And we have many fun community events and challenges, which are another way to find your place in the community. One of the first things that many of us do when we first come to WikiTree is to do a search for who's already on the tree. WikiTree has over 43 million profiles, so there's an excellent chance that one of your ancestors or other people that you're interested in already have a profile. Let's learn how to do a search. Over here in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a magnifying glass. And if you click on that, it opens up a search field. So for this exercise, let's use United States President Abraham Lincoln. Here we go. Search. So as you can see, we have 45 results that have come up. Now, our president that we're looking for is right here, second in the list. But supposing he was not. Now, with an important historical figure like Abraham Lincoln, we do know his date of birth and his date of death. So if you did not see the person you're looking for instantly, I want you to know that you can filter by date of birth or date of death. So if I click on the birth heading, it's going to take the 45 results and sort them chronologically. So that can be very helpful. And here we are with Abraham Lincoln, the president. Besides giving his birth and death information, the entry also tells who the profile manager is, in this case, the United States President's Project, and the date when the most recent edit was made on the profile. So returning here over to the left-hand side, if I click on his name, it takes me right to his profile. The other thing that you'll want to do, most likely with the search field, is to look more broadly for any surname that is of interest to you. So I'm going to pick something from one of my family lines, the Ratner line, and just search for that. And you will see up at the top on the right is an index for that surname. Going to that, you're going to get a page like this. Now, Ratner's is not a common surname, and in fact, there are only 28 Ratners on WikiTree right now. If you were looking at a much more common surname like Smith or Jones, you would see a subset of all those profiles that would reflect the profiles that have been most recently added or edited. So you get a nice little summary of all the profiles here. And then on the right, you see who the most active contributor or contributors to Ratner profiles have been in the last month. That's good information. And then down here, underneath that is genealogy forum activity. So this will show you any post that has been tagged with the Ratner surname and asked about in our G2G forum. So let me click on that. G2G is our genealogist to genealogist forum. And this is actually a post that I put up. And I tagged it with Ratner so that people who shared the interest in the Ratner surname would be more likely to see it and maybe could give me some answers to my question. So we'll talk a lot more about G2G and tagging later in the presentation. Now let's look at some profiles. There we go. So we've got the name. We have, pertinent facts up at this box at the top. Every WikiTree profile has a profile ID for you too. So it's Driggs 13. And you can see that it's repeated up in the URL. I'm Co31. So it's your name at birth and a number. And the number is just assigned because that's the order in which the people arrived to WikiTree. I was the 31st to come to WikiTree. And then I added my dad and he became Co32. So there's nothing mysterious about the numbers. But if you click on any of these, you can quickly copy the profile ID or the URL. So that's handy. We have the jump bar here. This is very, very handy. It basically travels anywhere you are on the page, and it allows you to jump top, bottom, look at family, descendants, ancestors, go to the various sections with ease without having to scroll. Here, of course, is your edit bar. This is very good to know about. This is the profile change history. And if it's not your profile, you might want to click on this and you can see what's been done to this profile and by whom. So there's been quite a number of WikiTreeers who have worked on this profile, and say if it's my profile and I see something's been done, this is where I'm going to go to see what happened. And to return to the profile, I just click on the profile picture. We can see that this is an open profile. And let me talk briefly about privacy levels. There are 7 different levels of privacy. You can see that Shadrach is open. So anyone who died over 100 years ago or was born over 150 years ago is required to be open. And what that means is that anyone can look at all the details, and if you've signed the honor code, you can edit it. And then we have more restrictions from there. Public, anyone can see the full profile, but only the trusted list can edit it. My parents who died somewhat recently, I have made their profiles public. And then if someone wanted to add to that, they could ask me to be on the trusted list, and then they could edit those profiles. Now, these 4 private. Private with public biography, private with public family tree, or private with public biography and tree are where active members are going to want to make their selection for themselves. In terms of what people will see on your profile. I'd strongly recommend that you make your family tree public, because that way other people can see how you fit into the overall tree. So, and then unlisted is not an option for active members. But for instance, if you add in a child or a living person who just doesn't want to participate, you can make them unlisted. So it's basically unsearchable. So that's a little bit about privacy levels. And then these are tree apps. We'll save that. Those are fun and games for another time. Maybe not a beginning session. So we see here, we've got 3 tabs. And right now we're seeing the family view for Shadrach. I can also click on ancestors and see back to his second great grandparents. And any of these I can click on here and go straight to that ancestor profile. Or I can look at descendants like this. So then we have, this is a very important box here on the right. It will tell you the profile manager. And if you want to send a message, a private message to that person, click on the little envelope. If you want to see, how is that person related to Shadrach? You click on it and you can see the relationship. Now, in this case, it's all green all the way. But if there's a marriage somewhere along the line, you're going to see green switching to yellow, switching back to green, and so on. We do count marriages in connections. So there's that. And this little thing, this is a new thing, content ranking. And it's a scale of 1 to 10, which basically once a week, the system crawls through and evaluates all the profiles and how complete they are. And so this would be the highest level of completeness for a profile. Also tells you the last time it was changed. So this is a really good box to look at. So we have the biography, we have some photos. In this case, we see that there are 3 photos. So if we want to go to the details, first of all, we should be able to browse through the images. We've got some maps, what it looks like. And if you want to see any of these in greater detail, just click on details. And then this will tell you where and when, who posted it. This is public domain, published by the put up there by the profile manager. So, and then we'll go back to the profile. We've got a couple of stickers. Those are always fun if you like a little visual bling on your profile. We do encourage that on ancestor profiles that you limit yourself to, say, three stickers, just so that it is, is more focused on the text. But we also see the DNA over here on the right. So these are all the people who have taken DNA and linked it to WikiTree, where they tie into Shadrach via the paper trail. And so, it'll show you where they took their test, the kit number, and then you can get in touch with them. These percentages, I do want to clarify here, the percentages are theoretical. So you'll see if we look at my profile and it lists my, well, let's say my grandmother, and it will list my DNA kit. on there, and it will say 25%. Well, I think most people know that by the time you at the grandparent level, it's not 25 times 4. It's maybe 28, 22, 27, so on, because of recombination. So I just want to warn people that these are theoretical percentages, and it could be more or less. Finally, going down, we have the sources. And you can see that we have these bullet point sources with a link. So if I were to click on this, takes me right to the census. And that's what we most want, is we want to say to the reader, this is how I know what I just said in the profile biography. And here you can look at it too. Now, bullet points, if we go, I would encourage you all to, as you get to know your way around WikiTree, take a look under the hood. Let's go into edit mode. Just don't save anything, but see how things were done. So as we go to the biography section, we'll look at the category in a second. Here are the stickers. So basically, anytime you see the double curly Q brackets, that is a template for a sticker. She had 2 of them there. And then if we come down to the sources, you will see that you've got an asterisk. But that wasn't what you saw a minute ago when we were looking at the profile in regular mode. So in Wiki markup code, the asterisk creates a bullet point. It's just one of these things you'll learn. I also want to point out this little bit of code, which you may look at and say, I don't need that. I'll just delete that. Please don't. Because it actually, well, I think it actually wouldn't make a difference in this profile because it's using bullet point sources. But if you go to do inline sources, which we're going to see on the next profile, it won't work without this little bit of code. So that actually, it looks innocent and unnecessary, but it actually is necessary. So once you've taken a look and satisfied your curiosity, then you can just come here and return to the profile without saving. So now let's look at a different profile. This is my second great grandfather over in England, and you can see, I'm going to refresh so we see non-WikiTree browser extension mode. So a lot of the same features, just different details. Let's see. I promised you to look at categories. Wait, let me just go back because Alexis had 2 categories here. So you can see that Shadrach has the Uriah Curtis Company 1852 category and LDS Pioneers category. So if I click to that, it's going to show me that there are 35 people who have also been put in that category. And if you go to my connections, if I click on that, it's going to show me how I relate to all 35 people in the category. So we can see that, yeah, I have some very, very distant connections. But this is particularly helpful in cemetery categories because, as we know, family members are often buried in the same cemetery. And so you may be unaware that one of your ancestors is in a cemetery until you run this little check. So categories are very, very good and helpful for what we do on WikiTree. So coming back to George. So the same, I was pointing out when we looked at the ancestors, I was pointing out that anything that's underlined is hyperlinked. So I could click on William and it'll take me right to William's profile. Likewise, within the bio, I can write in the bio a way so that someone can see, oh, he was the son of Edward Tudor. Oh, and they click on it and they go right to Edward's profile. So that's that. The way you get that is through this link bit of code. So coming back here, so this profile uses inline citations. So you can see that each fact that I state, I have a little footnote number. So that tells the listener, reader, oh, you can go down to 1 and see how she knows that. Oh, okay. It's the baptism record. And then the next fact is backed up by the census, etc. Again, we have DNA, which is coming through both me and my mother's test and some other cousins. Let's see. I think that might be all I want to show you. We will look at examples for both bullet point. We will create profiles with both bullet point and inline citations today. So let me just talk for a second about sources. So these links are on the tip page. So what is a source? And very simply, it's identifying where you got the information and preferably giving the reader a way to get there themselves, like through a link or, sometimes we get things from books that are on Internet Archive. You can give a link that way, or you can at least give the person a page number, and that's always appreciated. You must include a source for any information you add to WikiTree. Now, we do have a line in the sand between post and pre-1700. So after 1700, we are a little bit looser with the sources. Anything before 1700, you have to get a certification. You have to work hand in hand with the project. Say it's an English person, you would work with the England project to make sure that you are putting really precise sourcing on there. For post 1700 profiles, we absolutely want to do the best kind of sourcing that we are able to, but we also want, the reason we make it a little more flexible is we want to encourage people to add contemporary people. And there are people who are alive who might not be hardcore genealogists who know helpful things, and we want them to be able to contribute as well. And by the way, you may act as a source. Like, for instance, on your profile, you probably noticed it says firsthand information provided by Betsy Co. at time of registration. Or you could serve as a source for your parent, someone you knew. You cannot serve as a source for Queen Elizabeth I because you didn't know her. But so you see where I'm going with that. You can also cite sources, like maybe you have a family Bible at home. Lucky you. You can cite that and say family Bible in possession of, and then put your WikiTree ID. So that those count. So this page is worth a good read. But I just want to make this distinction. Although we are flexible with post 1700s, this is not okay. Find a grave, family Bible, family search. You got to give a little more than that. So like find a grave, tell us the memorial number. Personal record, which one? Can you scan it? Can you find it online somehow? Family search. Can you tell us the person's family search ID? Hugely helpful. Again, Family Bible, who has it? So you have to give a little, so here are examples of how you just give a little tweak and make it vastly more helpful for your fellow WikiTreeers. Then there's a second page, which I will let you read on your own time about what constitutes a reliable source. So very, very important stuff. I know that accurate sourcing is what draws many, many to WikiTree, and we want to maintain those high standards. Now that we've looked at some profiles, let's talk about how you can start adding your ancestors to WikiTree. If you've been doing genealogy for some period of time, you may already know about GEDCOM files. GEDCOM stands for Genealogical Data Communication. It's a specialized file format that allows us to transfer family tree information from one platform to another. And you can recognize files like this because they have the extension .ged at the end. WikiTree accepts GEDCOM imports. So let's talk through the process of how that works on WikiTree so that you can decide if that's the best path for you. The first thing to do is to go to My WikiTree from any menu and go to GEDCOMs. All right, here we are at GEDCOM Central. You'll see that there are 3 tabs, one for uploading, which is where we are right now, 2 for GEDCompare reports, and I'll explain that in a minute, and 3rd for downloading a GEDCOM. So you also can take things in the other direction. If you built up a tree on WikiTree, you can download a GEDCOM. So you need to have the GEDCOM file already downloaded to your computer, your desktop device, because the system is going to ask you to choose a file, choose the right file from your desktop. And then once you've chosen it, then you upload it. The next step is that you wait to receive your GEDCompare report. And the timeline on this depends on the size of your GEDCOM file. If it's a relatively small file, it can be very quick turnaround within the day. Larger GEDCOM files will take a few days, perhaps. And a word on GEDCOM file size. WikiTree has a limit of 5,000 people in a GEDCOM file. However, I don't recommend that you upload 5,000 people in your GEDCOM file. It will be overwhelming. So it would be much better to pick a line from your research, your existing research, and just import a small group of people, maybe 50 to 100. That will be plenty to give you a feel for the process and whether this is the right way for you to proceed in transferring your information over. So basically what the GEDCompare report does is it compares everyone in your GEDCOM file with the existing profiles on WikiTree. And it will tell you for a given person, I think we have some possible matches here based on the name or the date and the location. And you need to go through each of those possible matches and accept or reject them. Now, if it's an accept, then that means you don't have to create a new profile. You would just connect into that existing profile. If none of the possible matches are your person, then you would create a new profile for them. Final thing on GEDCOMs is let me show you a GEDCOM imported profile. I checked the profile change history on this one, and nothing has been done to it since it was imported via GEDCOM. So this is what it looks like. It's pretty bare bones in terms of the biography. No text, no story to it. But the bigger rub here is the sources. You're looking at these probably and thinking, but those are the fancy inline citations. Looks good, huh? However, okay, let's look at his birth, and that should be backed up by sources 7, 8, and 9. So if I go down to the sources 7, 8, and 9, if I click on any of these, it takes me in a big circle back to this profile. It does not take me, I would suspect that these are probably census records that, pinpoint his birth year based on his age at a specific census year, but it doesn't take me to those records. So if this is your profile that you imported via GEDCOM, you would have to go back and refind and re-enter those sources, since what we want to do is we want to provide sources where we can lead a reader to see the record that we saw. So maybe GEDCOM imports may be a time saver or not. That's a personal decision. What I am going to show you in the second profile creation demo is a way to use one of our free browser extensions called Sourcer, and that allows you to bring everything. I'm going to use that on one of my Ancestry profiles, and it brings everything over intact. Not only the names and dates and locations, but also all the sources with links. So that in the end could be a quicker way to go. All right, let's create some profiles. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to create a sister for Frances. So as you can see, now she did have a couple of siblings, but I haven't added any of them yet. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. And so far as I know, this sister is not on WikiTree. So it will be a new profile. Continue. Now I'm going to get some data fields, and I will try and type gracefully while you all are watching. Harriet, obedient. I don't know if she had a middle name or what it was. Her married name was Willett. So now this is going to mean that her WikiTree ID is going to become Bedient 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to make sure that with women that we use the maiden name if they were married. And just a note about the numbers, they have nothing to do, they are all about the order in which profiles are created. So I am co-31, and that just means I was the 31st co to come along on WikiTree. And then I created my dad, and he became co-32. So there's no mystery there. Her birth date, I only have a year. And I know she was born in Westmoreland. And you'll see now I'm getting some options here. Oneida, New York. There we go. Westmoreland, County of Oneida, New York. And I am certain of that. Her death date was, 3-letter abbreviation, 1881. I am certain, and she died in Saugus, Massachusetts. And you'll see that I'm getting here a couple of choices for Saugus, and you want to pick things that are in the appropriate date range, right? I would not want to pick the second entry, which is Saugus, Massachusetts Bay Colony, because we're talking about an event that happened in 1881. So I want to make sure that I pick that one that is 1776 and after. Certain female, continue. So no possible, this is where the system would tell you if they found somebody with a close match. But none of these, there were no matches. Okay, and yes, those are her parents. Continue. Okay, now I need a source. So I'm going to go over to, I think I had a couple of choices of what I could use today. I'm trying to keep it simple. I'm going to use her death record because it gives me the most bang for my buck. I get her parents' names, and it's not Udoc, it's Sadok. If you look at the actual handwriting, and it gives her age and her birth year. So I feel like this is good. Now you can do it this way. You can copy the citation and it will just give you, in fact, let me do that. I'm going to copy the citation and I could do this. However, what I'm going to do, I was telling you about Sourcer. See this little one icon. Now I'm going to click on that and I'm going to build a source citation. Now it's saved to my clipboard, and now I'll come back over here, and it gives me that. And it's just a more comprehensive. You'll see when I get out of this page that it's more comprehensive. Or you can see it there. It gives the link and a bit more information, and optional explanation. It's your death record, and now I'll proceed to create the profile. So notice that I'm still in edit mode, and I can make any change. The only change that's a little harder to make is if I decide, whoops, that's not her last name at birth. But even that, I can change that. It's just we want to try and get that right if possible, because it would mean creating a whole new ID for her. Okay, make sure I got everything correct. There are her parents, and the system creates a little automatic bio for her. I'll have to go back in and add some more details. And so you can see here is the source that I pasted into the box. Now let's go into preview mode and see what that looks like. So see the asterisk gives me a bullet point. There are my hyperlinks, and I didn't have to do them. The system did them for me. And coming out, I will give a very important little note. You will see this bit of code with the references and the / under sources. You may think, what's that for? That looks, I don't need that. You do. Actually, not for bullet point citations, but for inline citations, you do need that bit of code. So, and now I am going to, you see, right now I can't get out until I say what I did. So I added a source, and I like to say what I did, death record. And now I get the go ahead. I can save it. You will get this little message here. That would only be if you're involved in doing a challenge or a marathon event or something like that. And it goes away eventually. So you can see that Harriet has become Bedient 84. That's her WikiTree ID. And so if I want to copy her ID, I could click there. If I wanted to copy the link, the two square brackets, that's this. Or if I say I wanted to send to a cousin, hey, look what I just did. You can copy the URL and send the link to the web page over to whomever you want. Let's create a profile a different way. And this especially is for those of you who have large ancestry trees. And I'm going to reveal a bias. I'll just be upfront with you. I don't think GEDCOMs are the way to go. I'm going to try and dissuade you from that. And I nearly imported a GEDCOM myself when I first came to WikiTree, and I was not able to. They told me that I had too much media, like photos and whatnot, attached to my tree, and that's why they couldn't. And I'm glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I didn't. It gave me a chance to review my research, and it wasn't that bad. So here we go. We have well, here, what we're going to do is we're going to add Beatrice's mother. So she doesn't have a mother, but I do have her mother well researched on Ancestry. You can see that I have, dates, the places. I have a whole bunch of censuses, and I have birth, marriage, and death. All looks very good. I would not want to re-enter all of that. So what I do is, again, I go to Sourcer from the Ancestry profile. And now what I'm going to do is save person data. So, and it takes a minute, but really not that bad. Okay, all right. So the person data has been saved to local storage. It includes 10 citations. So now I come back over to Beatrice. And just like before, I said we're adding her mother. So I'll go there, continue. And now, instead of entering any of that, I'm going to go back to my sourcer, and I'm going to set the fields from the person data for Elizabeth Oates 26 seconds ago. Okay, sometimes you get a little hiccup with the location. But yeah, it did not like the fact that she was missing England. So you can see that everything has been carried over. Last name at birth, her, actually this should carry over here, hands. Anyway, we've got her, all her, now that, I'm going to change, yeah, that's fine, okay. All right, continue. And again, no possible matches. So none of these is a match. Okay. And now, instead of the box that was empty before, and it said, please give us a source, all of the information that was in my Ancestry profile has been brought over, and I have a sourcer generated bio. And so the explanation is added using external data from Ancestry, and it will even give the name of my ancestry tree. So I'm going to go ahead, create the profile. Okay. And I want to take us right away into preview mode. You can see that it's a lot with the wiki markup code, and your eyes are probably crossing. But here's what it's going to look like. These are inline citations, her birth, and the censuses. Again, nicely. I love the tables. I think everybody has a little different feeling about them. Love them, hate them, but I love the tables, especially if I'm wrapping my head around a family. marriage, and so on and so forth, and her death. And then here are the sources attached to each fact. So now what we would do is we would, well, we've added sources. And sometimes this happens. I still am not getting a full save, and I'm going to have to do a little something in the biography. Let's see. Maybe I could categorize her. Let's see. Newbury, Berkshire. So you see, now it's giving me a category. Categories go above the biography. Stickers go below. So I wish I had thought to be prepared with an England sticker, but we'll just pass on that for right now. So now you see I can go ahead and make the change. You don't even have to do, honestly though, you don't even have to do anything as much as a categorization. You could just do something in the bio box, just hit the return tab. And then you should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and full save. And now we have Elizabeth Oates 2752. Now setting up your own profile. Here's my profile. Let's see, what would you need to know? Top 3 things. Under my WikiTree, account controls is the place where you would change your email address if you want to redirect to a different address. Your email that's associated with WikiTree should be one that you go to, because if someone's trying to get in touch with you about a merge or a question, or you want to make sure that you see those. And then there are various things that you can toggle and adjust the frequency on. There is a weekly WikiTree family newsletter that comes out on Wednesdays, and that has community announcements and alerts on your watch list, your birthdays in your family tree, and anyone who said thank you to you. I really advise for you to not opt out of that. That's a very helpful little newsletter. There's also a daily wiki genealogy feed that's less essential. But if you're following tags and surnames, it's a customized newsletter to your interests. And then we also all have a navigation homepage, and you can customize that here. You can change your password here. So the account controls is very helpful. I'm going to go back to myself. I'll show you the nav page, my nav page. It's just kind of like a work area where you can, see it's your control panel. And you can customize this. You have a scratch pad where you can keep a little to-do list. It shows me my recent activities. Things we're going to talk about G2G in a second. So there's that. Let me go back to myself. And let's talk about tags. So these are these green ones. You can only follow 20 of them. And I am maxed out. You can see that they are things like I'm following announcements, but I'm also following countries, Canada, Taiwan, England. I'm following surnames like Menzie, Ratner, some events, some topics. So these are the sorts of things you want to follow in tags. And like I said, it will customize your content in that daily newsletter if you choose to receive it, and also in your G2G feed. I mean, it's just like if any of you are on social media and you follow tags to get content that is of interest to you. It won't take long on WikiTree for you to notice that we talk a lot about watch lists. So let's show how to find your watch list and also the information that you'll find there. Using the My WikiTree menu in the upper right-hand corner, you can find your watch list at the bottom. So here's my watch list. Your watch list is a collection of all the profiles that you have either created yourself or adopted or where you're on the trusted list. So profile creation is obvious, but let's talk about the other two ways that you can have a person on your watch list. So sometimes you may find an ancestor of yours who has no profile manager, and there will be a little hyperlink next to that, no profile manager, and then right next to it there should be an option for you to adopt the profile, in which case you would become the profile manager. One caveat with that, though, is that you have to have made 100 contributions to WikiTree before you can adopt profiles. And then the third way a person will show up in your watch list is if you are on the trusted list. And this would usually be in the case of a profile where it's not open, there's some degree of privacy protection, but the profile manager has added you to the trusted list, which then would allow you to make edits to the profile. So if you remember back to when we searched for Abraham Lincoln at the beginning, we have the same capabilities here with our headings. I can search by names in either direction, and then I can search by birth date if I want to go from earliest to more recent. And then it also gives me the most the date of the last time I edited the profile, or that anyone edited the profile. So that can be a really good way to focus your work once you've been on WikiTree for a bit of time, to notice, well, what's a profile that hasn't been edited in a while? Because when we take a profile onto our watch list, we are being a profile manager for it. We're accepting responsibility to care for it over time and to return to it and improve it and continue developing it. And then this CR is the content ranking that we talked about when we looked at Shadrach Driggs' profile at the beginning. So these, and again, you can sort from low to high. That's one of my favorite ways to see what I could work on, is to look for some of my profiles that have a lower content ranking, and then know that I have to spend a little time there and try and bring those up. I will say that the CR scores are only updated once a week at the beginning of each week. So if you do some work on a profile on a Friday and you don't see that content ranking score change for a few days, don't worry. It will change by Monday when the system has done its weekly update. And then finally, here on the far right, we can also look at our profiles by privacy level, and that can be helpful as well. Now, DNA is something where you can link your DNA results to WikiTree. You do not upload raw DNA data to WikiTree. It's very easy to do. It's under the Add menu, and it's right at the top. Add DNA info. So currently, I've taken an autosomal ancestry test, and I've taken a mitochondrial test from family DNA, family tree DNA. If I took another test, I could choose from the pull-down menu, and then it would ask me for some things like my test number, and then I would add it. I don't have results, so I won't actually go through with that. But that's how you add DNA. Now, let me show you what that does. So my mother and I both took DNA tests. I'm going to go a little farther back than the two of us, through the maternal line. So let's go to George. So you can see he is my, let's see, he's my grandmother's, he's my second great grandfather. And so on this page, you can see everybody who lines up with him in the paper trail. So that would be me and my mother and some other people as well. And I do want to point out that these percentages are theoretical. So I don't know for sure if I have 6.25% DNA with George. I have no idea. We understand because of a combination that it could be a little more, it could be a little less. So don't take those with that grain of salt in mind. But it gives you an idea of the degree of closeness. And then this might be a way for you to connect with a cousin that you did not know until now. Now let's talk about finding answers to your questions. We've already mentioned G2G, which stands for genealogist to genealogist. And you can get there from any page under the help menu, community forum, G2G. So when I go there, it takes me there. I can ask a question. I usually stay in the treehouse, but there are all these different areas. You can thank someone. You can get specific. Maybe you're new to genealogy. Here's genealogy help. Maybe you're struggling with something that's really just all about WikiTree. There's a section for that too. Tech issues, style, all of that good stuff. And let's see, my feed. I was trying to persuade you to follow tags. Here are my tags. And these are the posts that are specifically related to my tags. So if you want to, be very focused in your survey of G2G for the day, go to my feed in G2G. So this is similar to what we're doing today, but a little more interactive. And Hillary's with me for one of those sessions a month. We do it on the second Thursday evening of every month. That's US time, and the fourth Sunday morning of each month. And so it's just an opportunity to bring your questions. We can screen share. We can look at your profile, maybe help you make some changes, and just show you how to do things. So the YouTube channel, which is just at WikiTreeers on YouTube, has so many helpful videos. So I would recommend going to the playlists and just browsing. We have Tech Talk, we have we have the Roundup, that I was mentioning that I really, really got a lot out of. And now I'm happy to be a host there. And we have the new member sessions. I can't see it right now, but there is a playlist for the member Q&A sessions. So have a look through there. At some point, sooner or later, as you're building out your branches on WikiTree, you are going to discover an ancestor who already has a profile. This is a really exciting moment because it means that you have connected into the big tree. Now, at this point, you do not want to create a duplicate profile for your ancestor. You want to connect your branches to the existing profile. So let's just look at how to do that. Here's one of my fourth great grandmothers. And as you can see, she's a brick wall for me. Unfortunately, I don't know who her parents were. But supposing I was able to discover that her mother was on WikiTree. And now I want to go and connect Sarah to her mother. So I want you to imagine now that this is a hypothetical mother and profile. So I want you to imagine with me that I'm on that other profile. You would want to go ahead and get the WikiTree ID for the other profile. And so you can see that in the URL. It's right there. But even more easily is to go over here, and if you hover over the WikiTree ID, you can click and copy it to your clipboard. Then I would go to Mother, and instead of creating, I would connect, and that would allow me to paste the WikiTree ID for the other profile into this field and continue. So it's as easy as that. How do you get in touch with a profile manager? Maybe you have a source to add, a question to ask. Maybe there's a merge that you need to do. But sometimes you don't hear back from the person. So there is a help page, and this is on the helpful links page that I dropped in the chat, which talks you through how to handle that situation. Broadly speaking, we allow people the grace of a week. So, don't call the fire department after one day of no response. Give them 7 days, and also you can see how active they are. For example, if you were to go to my profile, any active profile, you'll see up at the top that I've been active on 81 of 90 recent days. So if you saw that, then you'd know that there's a good chance that I'm going to get back to you, promptly. But if it's a 0 of 90 or 3 of 90, then this is a member who's a little less active for whatever reason. We understand that life happens. But there is a problems and questions button. So let me go back to Herbert. So we talked about here's where the profile manager information is. And right over here is problems and questions where you can, take things further if you're not getting a response. At this point, I do want to talk about adding living people. And this is a link on the helpful links page. We want to be very, very protective of privacy and let people have, full say in whether maybe they don't want to be on WikiTree. So we want to allow them that ability. So this page is very important. Best thing to do is don't create a profile for a living person without inviting them. And there are some exceptions. If the person's your legal dependent, if the person has explicitly told you, yes, it's okay, or if your own living elder can't be communicated with for whatever reason, you can create an anonymous placeholder. And so what that means is, say I had a grandparent, and I would have, it would show on my tree, yes, Betsy has a grandparent, but you can't see any information about them. But clearly I have 4 grandparents in there, so no one else should go in and try and create a profile for one of my grandparents, because they're all accounted for, even though you can't see the information for one of them. Notables, former presidents, pop stars, sports figures, they are in a different category, and you can read about the policy there. To invite a friend as opposed to a family member, just tell them to go to wikitree.com and they can set up their own account. Finally, finding your place in the community. Join a project. I think many of you already maybe have a very specific geographic interest. So here is the page, and you can see how many different, very specific geographic projects we have. And some of these divide out even more finely once you become a member of the larger project. There are projects for specific historical events, notables, one name studies, societies. I would be hugely surprised if you could look through this whole list and not find something that didn't pique your interest or curiosity. There is a place for everyone in WikiTree's community. Last thing I'll leave you with, in G2G, there's always a post, what's happening around WikiTree in the month we're in. And it's a handy little countdown to the month. As you can see, we're busy. There's always something going on, which is part of the joy of WikiTree. I've found the community to be such a terrific part of my life. I'm on WikiTree every day. I've made people that I've made friends. I really consider them to be friends, and I would not have thought that possible with a virtual community, but we make it happen. Even if we answered many of your questions today, there's a good chance that now you have some new ones. We'd love to get together with you to answer these. Over the last few years, we've been holding Q&A sessions via Zoom with our members, and these have been terrific for real-time conversations. Zoom also allows us to screen share so that we can look at things together. Every month, we have 3 sessions that are just devoted to brand new members. Each session favors a different time zone so that we can accommodate everybody around the globe. To find out details for an upcoming session that works for your schedule, just visit our new member chat page. The link is next to me on the screen, and we'll also put it in the description for this video. Thanks so much for spending time with me today, and I hope to see you soon.